Our trip begins with crossing the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge and driving for an hour and a half on 101 North. You can take 2 exits to get to Guerneville. We decided to take Highway 116, the exit to Sebastopol, because it's just more scenic. Soon after you leave Sebastopol, you see a French bakery.
In the middle of nowhere, which is a good thing because there is not much around us, and we are kind of like a little gem in the middle of the vineyards, and we love our location because we have a fantastic parking lot and a lot of traffic and a beautiful patio. The most selling item has to be a match between the Queen Yaman, the almond croissant, and the ham and cheese croissant.
Back on Highway 116, don't speed up. Just enjoying the view and the fresh air. 25 minutes later, you will arrive in Guerneville. Here, tourists enjoy the warm weather.
New excitement, new experiences, great people.
So have you been to the river?
I've been to the ocean. I've been to a couple inlets where, the river meets the ocean. But we have yet to go paddleboarding. That's tomorrow.
And the business owners are just happy to see visitors.
We're open for business. Come on up.
We checked in at the Highlands, a resort surrounded by redwood trees. It is a perfect place to relax. The new owners are thrilled with the innovation they are doing it.
Already have had really, really positive responses from our guests. Even today have 3 rooms that have decided to stay an extra day because they just love it here and never knew this place existed, and they're from the Bay Area. So that's the kind of stuff that makes me feel like we're doing something right here.
On Main Street in town, there are restaurants, shops, and a block away, the famous Russian River, where people relax on the beach, swim, and kayak.
So here we just rent out canoes to everyone, kayaks, pedal boats.
After a long day, we went back to our cabin at the Highlands. Next morning, after a homemade breakfast, some people stay at the resort by the pool. A great tip for you: make your reservations in advance. We decide to get on the road again. On our to-do list, Bodega Bay and Bodega Town, where Alfred Hitchcock filmed his famous movie, The Birds.
When Alfred came to town, it really, was exciting for the townspeople. And a lot of the town folk were extras.
But first, a must is a stop in Duncans Mills, a tiny quaint town with shops, restaurants, and a museum.
People stop for lunch or dinner or breakfast on the way out to the coast. So it's kind of a main path between Santa Rosa and the coast.
Going south on Highway 1 to Bodega Bay, you see a beautiful views of the ocean. If instead you go north, you will encounter Jenner, Sea Ranch, and Fort Ross. That will be for our next trip. Here, we stop at Ren Brown's Gallery in Bodega Bay.
The focus on the gallery is contemporary Japanese prints, as well as a lot of local artists, Japanese antiques, and a lot of wood-fired ceramics as well. But fortunately, we have a long history here and many devoted clients, so we have a lot of online business as well, which has probably saved us more than a lot of other businesses.
Our next stop, Bodega Town. Do you remember this scene?
Get yourselves guns and wipe them off the face of the earth.
People are still coming here because of Hitchcock?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
They want to know where the schoolhouse is, Potter Schoolhouse over in the town of Bodega. They want to know about the fire scene and, where's the house on the meadow and stuff like that.
The church is still here, and so this shop, where you can find almost everything related to the movie. And another way to enjoy the beauty of this magic place.
Come September, October time is when the bioluminescence in the estuary shows up. And so bioluminescence are these luminescent dinoflagellates. So they're these planktonic organisms that actually produce this beautiful green neon light at night.
To paddle and see different kinds of ducks and sea lions. Experience the ocean, the Pacific coast.
Like the landscapes.
We took a different road back to Guerneville so we can check out the town of Occidental. Our stop, the Union Hotel and Restaurant. They have the best tiramisu ever.
Restaurant, it's just known for hosting several generations of families. A lot of San Franciscans would vacation in Occidental and Camp Meeker and Monterey and Guerneville, and so the generations continue to come up. We're very grateful.
A historic hotel where tradition is still surviving.
Together, here we've just finished the second pandemic, and the Union survived the 1918 pandemic. It's pretty amazing.
Meet Samroloff. If you have driven down the main street, most likely you've seen him sitting on his porch, chatting and painting.
I would always go by to go roller skating, and he was always out here painting.
They're like, hey, you know, are you open? And like, yeah, come on in. And you know, then they see all the art that's hanging around the place.
Through his art, Sam likes to express his thoughts on so many events.
So it's like there's a whole series of just the yellow vest movement stuff, and I love battles. I love, like, you know, kind of these conflicts of things.
Down the street, this cafe is trendy now.
And we decided to bring this building back to life because it's one of the biggest buildings in town. It's one of the first building built in Occidental. Have a cafe, coffee house, food, in-house bakery. The goal is to create a community hub for people to come and eat and drink and have a beer and drink wine and have a cappuccino. And then inside the building is a market space where we rent out different stalls. So we have a lot of makers here. We have a ceramicist. We have a jewelry and bag designer. We have a vintage picnic bag, basket, and a self-care section. And then in the back is the clay folk ceramics school.
On my way back to Guerneville, I stopped at this cafe just before Rio Nito. That's where I met Natasha Smirnoff.
Fun things to do here are go to the river, that's what my friends do, or go to the ocean, or hike around in the Redwoods. And me and some of my friends like to go skate, and Ori does too. It's just right over here. Let's go.
Another way to get to the coast is to take Old Casadero. The scenic road not only will take you to the coast, but also to Raymond's Bakery.
Only open Friday nights right now.
So, but there's no kind of bakery for Friday night?
Oh, well, actually, no, they're baked goods. We make pastries and breads on the Fridays.
Mark left the city due to health issues. Here, he lives with his kids.
Now, being a dad to my 3 kids is my number one priority, so...
He operates the bakery and the resort.
And I'm doing 4 farmers markets in 3 days, and also with the bed and breakfast guests and the 5 acres and cottages to take care of. A
couple of minutes after we left Raymond's Bakery, we stopped at this beautiful outdoor chapel. As you're driving through the hills, closer to the sea, a fantastic view catches my eyes. Another place to check out in the area is the Armstrong Redwood State Natural Reserve. However, due to recent fires, the park is closed until further notice. The next day, we visited the Russian River Winery.
We're an outdoor venue, so we've got probably about 2.5 acres of wine tasting garden. We don't like to consider ourselves a tasting room. It's more of a tasting garden. So you give the experience to the guests of come into what I wanted to create was like your best backyard. So you come into my best backyard of what I think that is, and you just sit down and enjoy.
We found some folks visiting, and they can speak for themselves.
Ending a 3-day event, and so we're just kind of relaxing and celebrating together so we can enjoy some good wine and some cheese.
On the main street, you can find bars, shops, and restaurants, and you will also find the only gay bar in Guerneville, which gets busy on holidays. Back at the Highlands Inn, there are some new updates.
So we're not going to have a space for people who want to camp?
No. And in addition, it was another thing where, insurance looked at camping and said, so people can bring their own camp stoves. There's some risk that we wanted to also be aware of with people bringing camping stove equipment and the possibility of fires. Fires is a real sensitive issue for us. So this helped us to sort of create a more controlled, and we've done the work for you. You just got to show up.
From Guerneville, you can go south to Calistoga and St. Helena. And if you go north, you can stop at Hillsburg. These towns will be on our next trip. So for now, that's all we have. In Sonoma County, Gleidson Martins for newsupnow.org.